Alright guys, this is a quick little tutorial on how to graph a box plot and a histogram. So if you watched my previous video, I'm using the same data set, so it might already be in your calculator. If not, just push pause, enter those numbers, and meet back in 2 seconds. Alright, I'm assuming you've met back. Let's get started. Alright, to graph anything in this class, we're going to go to second y equals. So second y equals. So in this menu, you're going to have all your different graphs. Right now, we're only graphing one thing, so we're only going to go to plot 1. And when you go there, we have to mess around with this window. So first thing we've got to do is we've got to turn it on, so just push enter to turn it on. And then use the down arrow key and choose the type of graph. So why don't we go ahead and start with a box plot. There are two types of box plots, one with dots, one with no dots. The dots represent the outliers. So let's always choose the one with the dots. And to choose it, you want to push enter. And you know when you've entered when the item you want to choose has changed color. So see how that's darker than all the other graphs and that's darker? Then you want to make sure you're on the right list. So all of my data is in list 1. Frequency, just leave it alone. And mark means what type of if there's outliers, what do you want it to look like? A square, a plus sign, a star, a dot. So whatever you aesthetically like, you can choose. All right, when you're ready to go, you're going to push zoom. And the kind of zoom we want to use is statistics, so I'm going to push the number 9. And there's my box plot. Now let's say I needed to draw a box plot for the test and I need to see what those numbers are. I'm going to push trace. And then I can use the right and left arrow key to go through all of these data points so that way I can draw them on my paper. So I could put a star at 0, a star at 1, a tail at 19, another line at 20 for the Q1, a line at 26 for the median, a line at 32 for Q3, and a line at 49 for the maximum. Okay, just remember that this is still your minimum. It just happens to be an outlier. So this line right here is your first number that's not an outlier. Okay, but that's not your new minimum. That's still your minimum. All right, let's switch it over to a histogram. You're going to go back to second y equals to get the graphing menu. You're going to push number 1. And so on mine, just like yours, it's still on the box plot. So switch it over to the histogram. Then push enter. And then when you're ready to go, push zoom 9. And there's your histogram. Okay, so remember that on a histogram, we have to make sure that we're counting by, we're not counting by decimals. So we're going to go over here to window and let's look at the scale. So right now the scale is 9.8. So I think it would be natural to go ahead and change that to 10. And now I'm going to push graph, not zoom 9, graph. And there's my histogram. So let's say I needed to transfer this on paper for my test. I'm going to push trace, and I'm going to draw, starting at the origin 0, 0, a line that goes from 0 to 10. That's where I got that from. And I'm going to make it 2 bars high, 2 units high. Use the right arrow key. The next bar is going to be from 10 to 20, and it's going to be 1 unit high. The next bar is going to be from 20 to 30, and it's going to be 8 units high. And so on until you finish. Now let's say you went and you wanted to do a window of 9 instead of 10. We might all have different histograms, but we should have the general shape be exactly the same. So this one changed a little bit, but it's still a pretty good histogram, so it's your choice what you want to change the scaling on the x-axis by. But just keep in mind that you want a histogram with 5 to 8 bars. You don't want fewer than 5 or more than 8, because fewer than 5 is hard to read. I mean, you can't really tell the shape, and then 8 just gets a little cluttered. So those are my hints for drawing a box plot and a histogram. Some common mistakes I see is when people get error messages, you want to make sure you just have one of these on and 2 and 3 are off. Another common mistake I see for error message is if you go to y equals, if you have some old equations in here from like another math class, make sure that this is all cleaned out. And then if you follow those instructions, you should be able to get either the box plot or the histogram with no problems. All right, well, I hope this helps. Good luck studying for your math test, and I will see you Monday.